Hi, I wanted to do a little end of 2023 recap. But first, I wanted to go time traveling back to 2022 to recall what happened that year. So in April, my back pain started, and in May, I finally went to urgent care because it just kept getting worse and worse, and that set off the whole cascade of x-rays, CT scans, MRIs, and ultimately a PET scan, biopsies, and in July I was diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma. Then I had surgery at the end of August 2022, and after surgery I went through radiation. That was at the end of September and beginning of October, and then shortly after that we started an oral chemo drug, which it turned out I responded very well to, and we kind of anticipated that because the selection of the drug was based on genetic testing. However, I had a very intense reaction called radiation recall, so the irradiated areas of my back and chest, and basically everything between my back and chest in this thoracic region, everything that had been irradiated was incredibly irritated by the introduction of the chemo. So then I couldn't eat or drink for about a week. The only thing I could get down was this ginger tea that I was making with honey. So that was rough. And then in November and December, I slowly started to improve. In November, I started physical therapy with the goal of getting back to the gym. And in January of 2023, I was back at the gym, and I continued on the oral chemo with really good results through May. It actually shrunk the tumor in my lung from around 3 centimeters down to 0.8 centimeters or 8 millimeters. So smaller than my pinky nail. And then, please, I've had a lot of questions. I slammed my finger in a drawer, so that's what that is, and that was like in October, so it's been 3 months slowly growing out. It's a giant blood blister. So anyway, they made the decision, the melanoma specialist advised that we transition from the oral chemo to immunotherapy in May, because you never know when the oral chemo drugs are going to stop having an effect. So he wanted to get me on the immunotherapy before the oral chemo kind of petered out. Unfortunately, I did not feel well on the immunotherapy, so that I kind of took a turn there. But going back to the beginning of the year, I resumed CrossFit workouts, which was awesome. The boys did skiing, Nico did basketball through the town. Luca also did basketball through the local rec center, and that was really exciting. I was not eating a lot of sugar. I was eating almost like no sugar, and I also was doing intermittent fasting and prolonged fasting. So I would pretty much daily not eat until noon or 1 o'clock, sometimes later, but then other times I would do longer fasts of 24, 48, or up to about 60, 62 hours. I wrote some notes here to help me remember. So I was also back at work, I think starting in November of 2022, and slowly building a caseload, a tiny caseload, but it felt good to be working. And I think in April of 2023, I held my first workshop for Revitalized Performance, which was really awesome. And Welly's company opened a new restaurant, so I got to attend the opening, and that was a lot of fun. Oh, in March we went to Florida. We went to Disney, which is really not something that ever interested me, but it's sort of like I have cancer, what if I die sort of trip. Who cares how much money it costs? So we had a great time. The Airbnb that we stayed in was beautiful. We got to see some of my family. Really, we had the best time at the Airbnb. We did go to Disney for one day, and none of us really liked it except Luca. So I guess if he wants to go back, he's going to have to plan that on his own. My mom moved here at the end of April, which was a major stressor for her and for us in so many ways. She had to grieve a lot of loss, and we had to adapt to having a fifth person in our home. but it's going well. And in May, I went off the chemo. I started the immunotherapy infusions, and the first one was okay. I definitely felt very tired. It was the day before my birthday, and I was exhausted. And I turned 38, and then I had a couple more infusions, and going to the appointment for the third one, I felt awful. I told my oncologist, I don't feel good about this. I haven't bought into this medication. A voice inside in me is telling me I don't need it, and I feel so unwell. And she did not strong arm me into it or anything. She's absolutely wonderful. And she said, well, you're here. And I had told her I did come with the intention of having the infusion, but I need you to know how I'm feeling. She said, why don't we do this one? And then if you're not feeling well after the fact, we'll make a change. Well, I got really sick after the fact. A couple weeks later, in the middle of July, I had a low grade temperature and felt feverish for probably 9 days. And I kept thinking it was from the immunotherapy, but I finally called and brought it to their attention, which I probably should have done sooner. But I was like, this is normal. Chemo or immunotherapy is supposed to make you feel like garbage. Well, it turns out I had severe pneumonitis, which is lung inflammation. So we stopped the infusions and I went on prednisone. And I have gained somewhere between 15 and 20 pounds since starting the prednisone. But the good news is after 7 months, I'm finally going to be off of it by the end of January 2024, which is fabulous. And so we just made a major shift. I actually haven't had any sort of cancer treatment since the end of June, which is awesome. And my scans in December showed that my disease process is stable. Like, I haven't had any growth, and the way my oncologist and I are looking at it is like, I don't have cancer. I will have PET scan in February, but we're really only dealing with these 2 small lesions in my lungs, which she said at this point could just be scar tissue and may never go away completely. So the spring and summer were fun. Welly and I went to 2 gun classes this year, which was really great. He has done some of his own training after that, like one-on-one lessons and stuff, but we went to the 2 classes together, which was a lot of fun. Like shooting classes, I should say, at the range. Both boys started swimming over the summer, which is awesome. Last summer, that all got so derailed because of my lack of function, but this year I was able to get in the water with them, and we did a couple rounds of lessons, and they did awesome. I got to see RFK Jr. speak. I think that was back in the spring. That was really fulfilling. Nico did baseball. Both boys did soccer this fall. In July, I did total my van, which was a bummer. That was a huge loss. I loved that car. She had 325,000 miles at least. I can't remember if it was like 327 or it might have been up to like 332 at that point, but it was sad. And I got myself another used Sienna, which I absolutely love and plan to drive into the ground. We took the boys to the first Red Sox game in July, which was awesome. I went to Hillfest, which is a huge Christian worship concert with some of the groups that I love the most, including Kane, who I saw again in Colorado in November when I went to visit my friend Lauren. In July, Willie and I started therapy, which was really great. We were just struggling because a cancer diagnosis 6 months into a new marriage is really hard. And it wasn't getting easier on our own. So bringing in a therapist and having twice a month sessions has been awesome. It's been so good. We communicate better. We are better at scheduling time together and just, I guess, nurturing one another's emotional health. It's a work in progress, but it's been really good. And then in August, we renewed our vows together. And it was only about 1.5 years after getting married, but we renewed our vows with the church. So when we got married the first time, we had a justice of the peace, but we didn't do it with our church. So our pastor wrote some vows for us, and we renewed our vows and got baptized at the church camp in August. And my friend Viv came for a visit in August, so that was a lot of fun. Luca started kindergarten, had major anxiety about that. He was saying, I am not going to kindergarten for the entire summer, but now the kid loves school, and during the breaks he actually asks, like, when do we go back to school? As I mentioned, I went to Colorado in November. My mom joined CrossFit in November, which is awesome. And I really struggled with workouts from July basically until November. And I've just in the last month gotten back into a rhythm, which feels really good. And it's awesome. We've had, I think, 2 occasions now where Welly, the boys, my mom, and I are all at the gym at the same time. And to me, that is amazing. I just think it's so cool. I wrote in our CrossFit group that it makes my heart and my muscles swell. And as I said, my December scan said everything is stable. We had a good Christmas. And that's about it. So I just wanted to do that recap. It's amazing because this was a hard year in so many ways, but it was also a really good year. And I feel so lucky to be at this place where I have no idea what 2024 is going to be like. I have no idea if it's going to be a good year or a bad year. And the truth is, I don't think of my years as good or bad. I've had some years that were tougher than others for sure. But in my new mindset, I just look at life as unfolding, and there are things I can control and there are things I can't control. And really, my job and my goal is to find joy in it all. And frankly, even though the past year was still rough, major setback in terms of my health and my function from essentially July through November, but I still had a great year. I had so much time with friends and family that I am just so grateful for. And I forgot to say that we went to New York for it was like 6 nights in August, and so we had time at my dad's and got to see some of my mom's family and spend time with my sister, and I feel really good about that. We also spent Thanksgiving at my sister's for, it must be like the 3rd year in a row now. And that was really nice. I remember the boys and I used to go there a lot. And then when my back pain started, essentially I didn't want to sleep anywhere else. So it's just nice to go away for overnights like that again. And yeah, I guess my point is that even in the hardest of times, you can find joy, and it doesn't have to be in big events or big happenings. It can really just be in your day-to-day life. All right. I hope tomorrow to make a little video, or maybe it'll be later this week, but a video about my goals and hopes for 2024. But sometimes I plan to make these videos and then they just don't happen. I think in July I was planning to start being more consistent, and then I got really sick with pneumonitis. So my goal is to make a video this week about the plans for 2024, or my hopes, I guess I should say, for 2024, but don't hold me to it. All right, bye.